Hello and welcome to Forward, Pierre Corneille's show about arts. She's a versatile artist, pushing the boundaries of storytelling through her unique blend of traditional and contemporary animation techniques. My guest in this episode is director and animator Ysmine J.J. Fischer-Zume. Dédé, her latest short, is a celebration of her Ivorian roots and is in competition in this year's edition of the This Is England Film Festival. All right, yes, thank you very much for being with us here today. So what are your impressions about last night's screening? Was it the first time your film was screened, or?
No.
No?
Well, it was the first time screened. Oh, no. No, I had a couple of film festivals that I've attended before. I think one of the first ones was Annecy. And there's been a few others like Fest Anchor. Wow, I feel like there's so many film festivals that it's been on, I've completely forgotten. Yeah, it's been in festivals like Ottawa, screened at BFI in London. Yeah. It's been going around.
All right, cool. Yeah. Okay, so let's get started. So you're going to be asked questions from students, and the first question is a question from Armand.
Dédé Ancestor is said to be an animated exploration of diasporic female identity. To what extent does this phrase correspond to your intentions?
Yeah, I guess the film itself is a deeply personal journey into discovering my Ivorian heritage, especially within the Bete tribe.
Yeah.
And during the time that I was actually researching and in pre-production stages, I was actually also at the same time meeting my paternal side of my family.
And did you get to go to Ivorian Coast, or?
No, I actually haven't. I've never been. So, but yeah. So like the whole movie itself is like there's so many layers between like my diasporic identity and my connection to like learning more about a culture that I've been quite distanced from, because yeah, during that time that I was animating and researching was also the first time I've met my biological father, who's from Ivory Coast. And yeah, and like to give context in terms of like diaspora, myself, like I grew up in Istanbul from age 2 till 15, like a teenager. So I've always felt like I was culturally quite Turkish, and you know, language with everything. And then I moved to England within it's a town called Wakefield, and very working class community. Yeah. So there was like there's always been a shift in terms of like my experiences, like culturally, and like especially like concentrated on my identity and where I'm from, as in a way that it's almost like I was always like trying to fit in some context. So I guess the film itself, yeah, so it's kind of like a layer of me discovering
a super complex identity.
Yeah, like super complex identity, and one of the things, because like because I was quite distant from my West African culture, I wanted to, just kind of explore that and give voices to underrepresented nuances, especially like in like female voices in terms of navigating around their diasporic identity, and so that's how it kind of reflects, I guess, the film itself.
So that's probably was a specific creative process, which leads us to a question from Ethan.
Dédé is visually striking as it features drawing on paper, 2D computer copper motifs, and intricate relief and grainings. Can you tell us about the creative process?
I'm just going to look at my notes.
About your creative process.
I think, the creative process was very material driven. From the start, I really wanted to reflect the traditional metalwork of Ivory Coast.
Well, did you do some research about it? Or how did it, what was the material you used to begin with?
So the material that I used to begin with was, research. So it was mostly, speaking to my biological father about the history. I learned a lot about my grandmother, who was from this tribe from Central Ivory Coast, within the Beta people. And there I learned that she was a very significant figure in the tribe. And that kind of informed my ideas and like materials that I wanted to use creatively. So so a lot of the things that I've used in the animation was like copper, metalwork, reflecting on like tradition and labor, because a lot of Ivorian iconography and sculptures are made from like bronze, brass, wood carving. So I wanted to find a medium, and did a lot of tests with materials of how I could translate that into a contemporary visual form.
Yeah, and I was wondering if AI was something you had considered, because at the end of the day, you're using a large array of techniques from 2D to 3D, and AI is a very attractive tool at the end of the day. So is it something you've considered or considering for the future?
No. If anything, I feel like I've kind of, because before I made Dédé, I was actually very heavily reliant on digital software. So I would do a lot of animations, using Wacom tablets and drawing visually and using a lot of digital techniques to make animations. But with Dédé, I've kind of reversed back to traditional animation, so working on paper and charcoal, frame by frame, and working very analog techniques.
It shows, it's very physical. There's something really genuine analog about it, if I would say. All right, next question is a question from Margot.
After Quick Mouse, this is the second time that you have collaborated with sound designer Alex Adetiba. So how did you articulate the relation between images and sound?
Actually, Dédé was the first first collaboration that I did with Alex, and Creek Mouth was the second animation. But I think because I released, because Creek Mouth was a commissioned project by Create London, and it talks about like preservation, resilience within the community, a British community in London, and yeah, that was the second one that we worked on. Whereas Dédé, I was still kind of at the end of the project with Dédé, but then Creekmouth kind of came in. So I was also working on that, but that was released before, I guess, Dédé was released.
But I mean,
yeah.
Like, I mean, the question really is about how you treat sound. I mean, it's the way I perceive the short is that sound sort of gives extra meaning or orientates the way we understand the images.
Yeah.
So how was it? You are a director as well. So did you think of sound before or after? Did that change the way you edited the?
Yeah, I think,
the images?
Sound for me, the way that I was thinking about sound is like, I didn't want it to be just an addition. It was more like it's a character in itself as well within the movie. So when we were working with Alex, it was like a very instinctive and intuitive, like there was a lot of conversation in the production of sound. So, for example, like when I was making the animation, Alex would send me, a bit of score. Like I would make a 5-second animation because it takes a long time to make 5 seconds. So I'd be working for like weeks, send him, and then within a few days, he would send me some sound. And I think in conjunction, it kind of, it was more like a conversation that we were having. So I was having a visual conversation and receiving, I guess, like sound as well. So yeah, I think one sound and the image itself kind of informed one another and kind of evolved as a process as well.
Does that mean that Creekmouth was, were you using the same creative process, the sort of dialogue and?
Creekmouth was, it was a lot. I think it was a lot different because, for Dédé is something that's very sort of like a passion project for me specifically. So I think there was, and also for Alex as well, because when I was working on Dédé, I was exploring my heritage, and then he was inspired by my exploration of my heritage. And he was also doing the same thing within his Yoruba heritage. So I think that kind of aligned with that. And when we were working on Creekmouth, it was also quite similar in the sense that we're still talking about it's a different sort of, they're both quite different in the sense that one is culturally different, but we were all kind of doing the same thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Anyway, that leads us straight to another question from Yuri.
Both Creekmouth and Dédé celebrates communities while raising political issues. To what extent do you consider yourself as a committed artist?
I think I think both. When I was working on Dédé, it was kind of unintentionally political because it was more like care-driven, and same with Creekmouth as well. But I think what makes it's at least for me, what I like to work is a lot of the times, like with animation or films that I'm directing, is I want to give voices to underrepresented nuances and untold stories, and it's really about like preservation, it's about memory, it's about belonging, and that's something that strongly, heavily reflects on Dédé and also Creekmouth. And yeah, I guess they're both kind of, in a way, very similar, but also quite separate. Because like in terms of cultural wise, it's like quite separate.
And the feel of the two
But
films
the feel,
are
yeah,
different.
the feel, yeah, also aesthetically,
Yeah.
it's completely different. But what makes them similar, like united, is the fact that, yeah, like just the concept itself of just, yeah, in general, like preserving history and
giving a voice to
giving
people who
a
are
voice to
silenced.
people, you know, that want to protect that identity or like that history.
All right. So another question from Kilian now about financing movies.
In addition to being an animator, director, you work as a producer at an independent animation studio. How did you finance your short movies?
So, I mean, it was a various, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, there was just like a various like self-directed funding and grants that I applied to. So when I was making Dédé, I'm not anymore working at an independent animation studio.
Well, you have that experience.
But I have, yeah, but when I was working at Dédé, I was working at Ana Projects, which is analog animation studio. And I think that's also one of the things that kind of pushed me to do like explore analog type animation. But anyway, going back to the budget aspect of it is with Dédé, I saw an advertisement about Film London Fellowship, and they do, it's called Flame in Animation, so Film London Artist Moving Image Network. And they were funding artists from Black heritage and backgrounds to kind of also, you know, bring in the industry like more voices and directors from different backgrounds. Yeah, so I applied and I got a little funding. It was like about maybe $3,000 or something. And that kind of pushed me into creating Dédé.
And do you mind my asking what the budget is for such a film as Dédé? Because I mean, it's probably extremely time-consuming to come up with such a complex animation movie. So how much
it was
did it
the
cost,
budget.
roughly?
The budget was, so what I got from Film London was $3K.
Yeah.
But also you need to consider the fact that, like, you know, you have to pay for sound design, composer, materials. So a lot of it was like, yeah, like I didn't even have, I'm trying to think how I funded it, because like, I think the best way to put it is like, it was kind of like an addition. It was also self-funded and a bit of help from Film London as well, because yeah, I mean, it took me 2 years to make it in between other productions as well, because at a small budget, you can't really, you know, hire help or do, I don't know, hire another animator or help. So
it was
yeah,
a passion project made for yourself, by yourself, and in part self-funded.
yes, exactly.
Right. Okay, well, thank you very much. Just one last question. You're here because you're part of the This Is England Film Festival, and your film is in competition. So, which adjective would you give to which best fits the festival in your opinion?
Like one word?
Yeah, one word, 2 words. Which adjectives would correspond to your impression about this festival?
Multi-dimensional.
Right, fair enough. Yeah, well, it suits you, it suits us. Thank you very much, Ysmine. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your answers.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon.